Welcome to episode 5 of SJSO Unlocked. We are here with members of the Air Unit. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
This is our most requested episode so far. So you guys people want to hear from you. They're really interested about what you do.
Yeah.
Cool.
They're nervous. They're kind of nervous. So I want to introduce them all. So Casey, we'll start with you. Just tell us about yourself, how you got into law enforcement and involved in the Air Unit with the Sheriff's Office.
Sure. My name's Casey Kumar. I'm a pilot with the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office. I've been in law enforcement for about 11 years and about 7 years in aviation. I started out in a North Central Florida police agency and was able to get on their aviation unit fairly early on in my career. And then they sadly closed their doors. And so I lateraled over to a sheriff's office in that same county and worked as a backup pilot for about three years. And then I came over to the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office when they had a full-time pilot position. So I'm happy to be here now.
My name is Gavin Higgins. I'm a patrol deputy here with the Sheriff's Office. I'm also part-time here on the aviation unit as a tactical flight officer. I got into law enforcement in 2021. This is my first and only agency.
Hey, I'm Josh Butler. I'm also a pilot with the Sheriff's Office and currently assigned as the Sergeant over Air Operations here at St. Johns County. I've been with the Sheriff's Office a little over 11 years, started in patrol, some time in our training unit, and have been a member of our SWAT team for about the majority of the time I've been here.
Can you tell us the purpose of the Air Unit, how you all work with deputies on the ground, and what your day-to-day operations look like?
Our primary mission is patrol support, so helping the men and women on the ground that are patrol deputies responding to calls. We try to help them out as best we can with whatever they might have, whether it's a runaway child, missing boater, fleeing felon, just about anything they can come up with. We try to help facilitate that need, and then some.
And you all often tell me that you have the best seat in the house. You're the eyes of the sky. What kind of privilege is that, especially in law enforcement, to have that seat?
I mean, it's a great privilege, and from a tactical aspect, it's a great point of view. Like Casey said, it's helping the men and women on the ground responding to calls for service. It adds an extra layer of safety for them, and we can give them our best advice on what to do as they're showing up to a blind scene.
And so it's not just beneficial for patrol, but also our investigative and specialty units. So if there's a certain sort of surveillance that needs to be done before a search warrant is executed, or overwatch for a SWAT search warrant execution, things like that. So anytime that you can get up there to be that resource is an excellent day.
What does a normal day look like?
So we operate 7 days a week. Just like patrol, we have 2 shifts, one that works, 2 on, 2 off, 3 on, 2 off, etc. And then we work 12-hour shifts on our patrol shifts.
Can you describe who makes up the Air Unit? You have pilots, you have TFOs, you have mechanics. How many people are you working with every day, and what's the difference in those roles?
So we have a total of 5 pilots currently, 3 tactical flight officers, 2 full-time aircraft maintainers, and 1 part-time aircraft maintainer. And quite frankly, without those who keep our aircraft running, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So it's a lot of respect and gratitude towards those people. Your pilots, their main responsibility is the safe operation of the aircraft. And then you got the tactical flight officer who sits left of the pilot. He's in charge of running the camera, running the tactical radios, speaking with the ground, spotlight, that sort of thing. Can
you describe the 2 helicopters?
Our fleet currently consists of 2 Bell 407s. Our first one, a 2013 407 GX, was purchased under Sheriff David Shore. And then we recently acquired the purchase of a 2024 Bell 407 GXI. So that our fleet currently consists of 2 Bell 407s.
What are some of those tools that you all are working with during a flight that are on board?
Our biggest tool is our camera, which is what most of the public sees. They see the footage of on Facebook and YouTube and TV. Has 2 cameras. It has a daylight color camera, just like standard that you would see, with multiple zoom levels. Then you have a thermal camera, which differentiates heat and produces an image, and it helps us at night. With that, we have the spotlight, which we use to just illuminate areas in the dark. And then on the inside of the aircraft, we have our mapping system and our radios, where we communicate with everybody that is on the scene.
We also have night vision goggles, white phosphorus, that allow us to see at night. I know St. John's is growing rapidly, and there's a lot of urban development, but there's also still a lot of forested areas that have zero illumination, and it can be quite dark. So to have those goggles in the event of in-flight emergency and to be able to get us on the ground safely is paramount.
We frequently post on social media footage from the air unit of different calls you all went on and incidents throughout the county. Can you describe one that stuck out to you that you've been in the sky for, and describe the response to those?
Sure. I'll start out with one of our more recent ones. We had an aircraft in distress over Green Cove Springs back on February 4th. It happened that we had been on a patrol flight that night. We had been doing pattern work over at the airport, and we're in the process of shutting down the aircraft when Tower came up and asked if we could assist with this aircraft. They had said that the aircraft was going down, and typically when you get a call like that, you expect, okay, well, aircraft go down relatively quickly, so we weren't really expecting to do much besides look for, the aircraft wreckage. So when we got the aircraft spooled up and off flying towards Green Cove, that's when we came to realize the aircraft is actually still in the air, or orbiting the area and having trouble locating a place to land. The approach controller had directed the aircraft over to Green Cove because there is a strip out there, and apparently there was no lighting. So the approach controller actually had the wherewithal to ask around for units that might provide some assistance. So they called over to St. Augustine Tower, who then relayed it to us to get us over there. So we were able to get over there and actually provide some assistance with the spotlight on the camera. So we hardly did any work. It was the pilot who was flying the aircraft and putting it on the ground safely that did all the work. We just held the flashlight for him.
And what about the partnerships between the air traffic controllers reaching out to the sheriff's office to come and help?
It's been fantastic. The fact that they understood their area of operation and knew what resources they had available, and then to make the call in a timely manner so that we could come and make a difference. It was greatly appreciated.
So you brought up partnerships, and that's definitely one of the greatest things that we have in our unit with air and marine. We have great partnerships all across the board. Work very closely with the United States Coast Guard. If I'm not mistaken, your closest air assets for our area, the Coast Guard, are either coming from Air Station Savannah or Air Station Clearwater. So having experience and capabilities to work hand in hand with our air and marine and maritime Coast Guard to kind of search for these swimmers and boaters in distress that we get. We have a lot of water around us. This year alone, we've had about 15 swimmer or boaters in distress so far. And then also the partnerships with all of our surrounding agencies. We have mutual aid agreements with the agencies around us. I like to think that we maintain great relationships with everybody around us, everybody that we work with, whether it's Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, Clay County Sheriff's Office, Flagler, Putnam County Sheriff's Office, and the police departments involved in those counties. We have mutual aid agreements, so that means that we are available to assist them whenever they need. Not all of the counties around us have an air asset for their county. So any time that we have to go over there and help them with a positive outcome is absolutely excellent. But that's not just restricted to our area. It extends across the state and across the nation with law enforcement aviation, whether it's Leon, Hillsborough, Pinellas County, Palm Beach County, Alachua County, Marion County. I can list all the counties and agencies across the state and nation, but we're extremely grateful for those partnerships. So partnerships are huge.
What is the most type of call that you all do respond to?
It kind of varies. It varies day by day, month by month, and year by year. But we do get a lot of, this year alone, like I said, we've had 15 swimmers and boaters in distress. We've had over 20 LPR hits and stolen vehicles, and then over 15 missing adults and missing children. So the unit is both reactive and proactive. So if we're not receiving a call, we're trying to be out there as much as possible so that when these calls do come out, we're decreasing that response time and hopefully locating those who want to be found and locating those who don't want to be found.
One of the greatest strengths with a helicopter is we don't have to fight traffic. So these aircraft can fly straight lines and get us to wherever the call might be coming in and allow us to actually see crimes that are being committed in progress and relay that information in a timely manner to deputies on the ground who can then take swift action.
Is there ever a time where you all are just up in the air patrolling and you locate something before patrol does, even on the ground?
Yeah, it can occur, and we're definitely up trying to find those things. There's a group of people who think it's a great idea to go into the developments that are being constructed and remove these people's appliances and building materials. So we're constantly out looking for them as well. Copper thefts and things from cell towers. We're looking every now and then. You'll come across somebody who doesn't realize that they're being watched from afar, and then we're able to get resources to that area so that they're apprehended.
On that topic, we had another recent pursuit that the sheriff's office was involved in on March 3rd. I know you were in the helicopter for that. Can you describe that response when you all received the call?
So it was about 2:30 in the morning when we received the call. It was a call out for us. It was a kidnapping suspect. He was fleeing from deputies here in St. Johns County, southbound on Interstate 95. So we responded to the scene. By the time we got there, he was in Putnam County. Putnam County Sheriff's Office was also chasing him. And he ended up crashing just north of Palatka on State Road 17. When we got there, Putnam County and St. Johns County both had a perimeter set up in the area. It took us about an hour and a half to locate the suspect. He ended up being in a kind of like a dump trailer in the back of carried by a semi. It was pretty cool because it was about a 50-degree night. He was wearing shorts and a T-shirt, and obviously he was pretty cold. So with his body heat up against the metal of the trailer, it actually bled through. So you could see through the trailer in a big heat blob. That kind of helped give away his position a little bit, and with great coordination between both the sheriff's offices, we were able to get the suspect in custody. So it was a win for everybody.
I think before he wrecked, he was going like over 100 miles per hour on the interstate, wrong way with no headlights on as well. So I heard. So,
yeah, he had complete disregard for safety of others.
Pretty big deal.
Nobody else was injured in his pursuit,
Nope.
Right?
Yep, nobody was injured, and he was caught and arrested.
And what about that partnership between, I believe it was Putnam County Sheriff's Office, Palatka Police Department, and FHB?
It was just great coordination with everybody, clear communication. They were able to set up a perimeter very quickly. St. Johns County was able to make contact with Putnam and let them know that, hey, we're coming, and there's somebody we're chasing. And it was just a one big success for everybody.
How many flights on average a year are you all taking? How many calls are you responding to? Do you have some of those statistics?
Yeah, so this year we are about 520 hours of flight time with over 700 calls for service. And then last year we had a little over 960 hours of flight time with about a little over 850 calls for service. So yeah, we try to stay busy, proactive and reactive, multiple flights throughout the day, like I said, and that's to aim to decrease that response time when either it's a citizen who needs an aircraft, they're looking for a loved one, or it's a deputy who needs the resource. We want to get it to them as quickly as possible.
One thing I left out is, in terms of your response, is storms. Last hurricane season was pretty gnarly for Florida, and especially our area too. We got quite a bit of flooding and damage. How do you respond to that afterwards if there's an area that's hard to get to because of flooding, because of damage?
Yeah, for sure. Generally, when a hurricane's coming, you have a rough idea of when it's likely to make landfall or come close to your area. And so those days leading up to it, we're doing pre-storm damage assessments, checking out certain areas, the intercoastal, the river, oceanside. And then as soon as the storm passes, we're trying to get out there, see what areas of the county have been affected and where are the areas in the county that need resources the most. And you're looking for those that are stuck on their property or their streets are flooded or who needs resources so we can get them to them.
What would you say sets apart SJSO from other agencies, especially with the resources you all have here with technology, the support from the sheriff, the citizens of St. Johns County, that sets us apart from other agencies?
Well, honestly, I think you just answered it for me, but it is definitely the support we get from the sheriff and also the support we get from the citizens of St. Johns County who trust us with this equipment, this responsibility, and we just couldn't do it without any of them, honestly.
Is there any misconceptions about aviation?
I'd say a misconception would be if you see our helicopter in the air that something bad is happening. Like Sergeant Butler mentioned earlier, we are also proactive. So we might not be on a scene. We are just flying through the area, showing presence.
Yeah, and honestly, you see it on social media, people asking other people on social media if everything's okay. But if you are honestly concerned, the best thing to do is to call the sheriff's office non-emergency line and find out if there's something happening in your area.
Another misconception that we get a lot is if there's a cloud in the sky, Air One doesn't fly. That may be the case sometimes. We are required to fly with visual flight rules. According to the FAA, that means we need to see and avoid. So if we can't see, we're not going to be able to do much good avoiding anything both in the air or also observing anything on the ground. So we do and are able to fly in certain types of weather, but understand we have to make certain decisions that we hate to say it, but sometimes we do have to say no to certain calls.
Yeah, and saying no is not an easy thing at all. And so when you're making those go no go decisions, you're looking at what is the weather at where I'm located currently, and is it legal for me to take off? Can I get to where I need to go, and what's the weather like there, and can I get home? And then if I can't get home, where are my options to go from there? And sometimes it's not prudent, and we never like to say no. We want to be there because that's the entire purpose of the unit is to support patrol investigations and special teams. It's not for us, so we want to be there, but sometimes you have to say no.
Safety is a priority.
Correct.
It's a big deal, and everything in aviation is trying to find how risk can be mitigated. So risk versus reward, and kind of figuring out a scale of what do you gain and what do you lose.
What does your training look like? How often are you training?
So we have aviation specific training. Every year we partake in training where you're basically simulating emergency procedures in the event that something were to go wrong with the aircraft, how to safely land the aircraft. We do those during both day and night conditions with night vision goggles. We maintain membership with the Airborne Public Safety Association, attend a lot of their classes and networking with all the law enforcement agencies I was talking about earlier. And then we get incredible training from Helicopter Institute, Bell Training Academy, and Van Winkle Aviation. So we're incredibly grateful for those training opportunities. And then we look at every single flight as a training evolution as well. So any time that you get to pre-flight the helicopter, push it out, start it up, go through all your run-up procedures, actual flying approaches, and returning, shutting down, everything is an intentional rep of getting better every single day. And then outside of that, we're constantly trying to refine what we're doing, whether it's with a special team or with our partners in Marine, so that when we do get a big call, everything is much more seamless, or you're identifying deficiencies, whether it's communications or or lack of equipment, etc.
What's your advice for someone who wants to enter law enforcement? Maybe with the goal in the future of being a part of the area unit, but just in general, where do they need to start their career? And how do they do that?
Well, typically you should probably start with a ride along to make sure that it's right for you. And then I would say look into any academies nearby and then progress from there. Start looking for agencies that you want to work for. Make sure you keep yourself upstanding. Try not to get in too much trouble growing up.
Yeah, ride-alongs are a great place to start. And then tons of agencies have, civilian law enforcement academies that you can be a part of, that you can learn all kinds of different areas of an agency. Like Casey said, get out there, research the county, figure out where you want to live and what community you want to support, and see if you can sign up for a ride-along, because that's one of the best ways to see if it's something that you would be interested in. The St. Johns County Sheriff's Office has had an aviation unit since 1997. I myself, and I can speak for everybody else in the unit, we're extremely grateful and blessed for the opportunity that we have, and there have been so many good pilots and TFOs that have come before us, and everything that we do and that we're trying to do is to pay homage to those who've come before us, because it's a huge opportunity and a great responsibility, and we're just trying to make the community and the Sheriff's Office proud.
That's the end of our episode. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching or listening. We are available on pretty much every podcast or every platform that you get podcasts on. If you have any questions for us or have an episode idea, don't hesitate to email us at unlockedpodcast@sjso.org. You can also follow us on Instagram. We post clips from all of our episodes on there, and you can also access all of the platforms from our Instagram profile. Thank you all for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And we'll see you for the next episode.